My MO, I'm steady fighting failure. Remember where I was at when Tower 7 fell? I don't think that was a danger to mankind, and now they face a hell in a cell. Going to see the Undertaker if it's a chance that he tell.
Owen Hart, the Rocket,
Rest
the
in
King
peace,
of
Owen.
Hearts.
Rest in peace.
Yes.
Definitely. I point that out because Owen was really an unsung hero, and going back to what I watched but didn't appreciate back then, like the 90s, 94, 95, when he was in his prime, his peak, when he turned heel actually after like turning on Brett and becoming the King of Hearts, winning the King of the Ring and such. He was like that well-balanced heel, but not necessarily evil, more like kind of gimmicky, when they used to have the Slammy Awards, they used to steal some from other people and be like, I did it. It was me, all me, whatever, and give like a little heel speech, whatever, little dirty tactics like that. Even in the Nation, when he was obviously the standout of like, the non-black member, it was still kind of fun to watch. He still put on good matches. But
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think. He was a little smaller than Brett. He was a little thicker, I guess, too, and all that. But he was like maneuvering himself like a cruiserweight.
He was light on his toes. Yeah, he wasn't light on his toes. He was light on his toes.
Yeah, very, very light.
He was about theatrics in the ring too. He can make the faces. He was what Brett wasn't as far as a character was.
Yes,
and given that aspect,
it's funny. Yeah, like Brett presented main event like stature, but Owen brought main event charisma.
Yeah.
He brought main event charisma. So it's like them two together would have basically like they did do damage. They did present. They did brought in a lot. Them two alone.
One of the best WrestleMania openers.
Yeah, them two alone, they can. It's like they can wrestle each other all day, every day, and it would be great. You wouldn't get tired. You're like, let's go. Like more and more and more. As like with him, I felt like again, I'm not like taking. I didn't watch Owen. I didn't watch Owen growing up. I didn't. But what's so sad is when I did hear about when he passed, it was at the time I didn't watch wrestling. My friends were speaking about it, and it was like, oh my God, they described, hey, wrestling. So, they described the situation very horrific because, it's like, wow, as a kid, I'm like, I don't know until when you get into it, then you're like, oh, this is what they was talking about. Yeah, this is what they was talking about. But anyways, going into his career, he did do a lot. Very charismatic, man, very athletic in the ring, for what I've seen. And it's just, I feel like it's just unfortunate before his death, untimely death, like how WWE treated him. I feel like, again, they punished him because Brett left. So that the blue blazer character, blue blazer that he portrayed, it was like just like a demotion because, oh, your brother left, so we're going to punish you for what he did. And he had a lot to bring to the table. If they gave him a great
opportunity, he really was.
Yeah.
I definitely think because Owen, that man could work too. He could wrestle his ass off. He had the charisma. He had all of it. And they definitely could have did something with him. I get it that he was kind of like constantly at the mid-card level. But back at that time when everything was up for grabs, I feel like personally, the petty in me, I would have been like, nah, we're going to shoot this guy to the moon because just to spite his brother. Like, so that's kind of where I didn't understand,
Yeah.
Like it's like he could. Let's punish him. It's like, dude, no. Like, his brother like really pissed us off, right? So what do? Like you give this guy everything.
Yeah. And I felt like
because his last name is Hart, people wanted to see him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he was good on top of that. So
yeah. And I felt honestly, like if they would have, if Owen Hart to me personally is like the Canadian version of Kurt Angle because I see them too similar. Honestly, in my opinion, I feel they're similar, especially with their brown.
Could you imagine what they would have done?
That's what I'm saying.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, because Kurt Angle debuted literally less than 6 months prior to when Owen passed, so he still would have been there. He still would have been there when Kurt Angle debuted. Owen would have still been there. So
those two could have had the rivalry of a lifetime.
Them two could have had the match of a lifetime. They could have had a world championship worthy match, and everybody could have just did nothing but applaud. It's
and think about the guys that showed up afterward. Can you imagine what it would have been like with him and Jericho going at it? Him and the one we can't speak of going at it. Those two would have, because they know each other back from Canada at that time. can you imagine what the matches those two would have put on? Like it's one of those things like WWF at the time, it was WWF, was still at kind of a point. And then I remember Triple H and Jericho were doing, I think it was Jericho's podcast, and they were talking. It was basically like how Jericho said, "Hey, I have no shame admitting this. You know, I know I was the mid-carder, but this is when everybody bought their A game. Like everybody. It's crazy. Everybody bought their A game. It's like a fight. It's like the 12th round is when they basically was just swinging, connecting all of those hits. From the tag team division to, you know, Hardys, Christians, Dudleys, to the mid-card divisions, those guys to the WWE for the heavyweight title division, you know, Rock, Austin, H, all of them. So can you imagine? It would have sucked because Owen was at the company. Jesus, Owen was at the company for a while already at that point. But if Owen would have basically, they could have put the mid-card on his back, and he could have like just ran with it. Like I said, the match is up. Could you imagine WrestleMania? Can you imagine WrestleMania 2000? And if it were just Angle versus Owen, could you imagine if like then afterward it was Owen and Jericho, Owen and the other guy, and just and then just kept going in that circle, and then eventually give Owen his shot at the world title, because Owen had the persona. Owen could have been in the middle of the ring, cut a promo. He would have been a face, you cheer him. He would have been a boo. A heel, you're booing him. And then also too, could you imagine when Shawn came back, if them two could have picked up a rivalry? Like, that's everybody in the 90s wet dream. Like, that would have just like, God rest his soul, man. But like you said, but we know none of that would have happened, because you said they were punishing him, unless he would basically say, "Yo, F this, I'm out," or you know. Yeah,
it's very unfortunate, because like you said, like even if he was alive, like you said, he still would have been the Blue Blazer. And, you know, knowing how WWF was at the time, I mean, you know, but especially at the time, what it was for him, he still would have probably been the Blue Blazer. He still would have been, like, you know, overlooked, overshadowed. And then maybe like, you know, like you said, the other wrestler probably would have brought him out of that persona to be like, this is not who you are. You're a Hart. What are you doing? Like, why, you know, they could have built a lot into that.
They definitely could have did something with that, because and also too, the time WCW gimmick Jericho as the I think it was WCW, the last student of the Heart Dungeon, something like that. So
I think so, yeah.
I think it was WCW. So, but WWF, you know, they don't care. They could have done if that wasn't copywritten, they could have did something like that, and that would easily been a way to transition him out of the Blue Blazer gimmick. It's so much that could have been done. It's so much, and then especially they definitely could have done it anyway, because even if, let's say, unfortunately, if Owen would have still had that gimmick, Jericho could have done it. Let's say, who knows where it would have turned. I don't know if Jericho could have. Well, no, and even if it could have basically, like, because sometimes I'm just thinking right now is, could you imagine if Blue Blazer challenges Jericho for the undisputed title, right? Is after they purchased WCW, so he obviously. So they obviously own it. So all the stuff that the WCW has done, they can talk about it. And if that's what pushes them to give them that good push and that good run, and they just keep going. And then of course this is when Shawn Michaels is like only a few months away from making his return. And then they could have just went. It's so much that could have been done. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, even like Owen Hart. Okay, even though, like I said, Owen Hart is not your typical big man, you know, Vince McMahon, big boys, you know, love a dream, you know,
big boys, wet dream,
basically. So, but even still, you could Owen would have still been a great transitional champion, because I know if you don't feel that he can hold it, I mean, he can, you know, he can have the company on his back. At least you could have gave him the run to be like, all right, well, we don't trust you, but we'll let you hold it for like 2-3 months. Well, you know, you got to eventually drop it to the main guy we want to have the belt, but at least those 3 months would have been worth the while. Like, oh, hey, Owen was a great champion, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just sad about the fact that, rest in peace to Eddie also, I would have loved to see them both be heels against each other. Just little dirty tactics.
Think about Eddie, yeah. Think about it.
That would have been
hilarious.
That would have been
good TV.
That would have been good TV. Yeah, Latino Heat. Well, especially Latino Heat, early Latino Heat versus the Blue Blazer. I could see that comic right now. That would have been hilarious. Like Eddie, like, hey, Holmes, what's this with the costume? And he's like, what? This is not a costume. This is a superhero. You know, he could have. It would have been like comedy gold with them two. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm here to save the day.
Or him
and
trying to steal
Helms.
China. Or him trying to steal China from Eddie
Exactly.
back when.
Like, you need a man who's going to treat you well, mama. This Latino heat right here is not doing his job. Like, it could have, it would have been comedy, comic gold.
I do my job, but with the lights off, Holmes. What you mean?
Yeah. It really would have been something.
Oh, you can, but you know what, too? Not to be funny, it's so much that could have worked there because remember, Right to Censor came in 2000. So you can imagine if, Owen was still alive, if he was still dragging the Blue Blazer gimmick that long, but think about it, it'd been like 2 years by that point. So you can imagine he still was dragging the Blue Blazer gimmick and the Right to Censor beat him. That's his transition to going back to Owen Hart.
Yeah.
Lose that match. Remove the costume, and now you're Owen Hart Right to Censor.
That would be good. That could have worked, definitely. I forgot about them, Right to Censor.
That could have worked. Like, and then once he left the team, then he could be Owen Hart again, Hey,
doing his own thing.
Goddamn, yeah. But yeah, rest in peace again to Owen. That's just touching on, I like, I don't know how you guys feel. I like touching more on people that pass their birthdays more than like their death days. Just kind of like, kind of puts dampers things. Yeah. But that was good to know. Had he been alive, he'd be 55. He would have been done with hopefully a storied career behind him.
What do you mean what happened? What are you, blind? Jesus!
So Riddick had brought up a what if, since we're going down memory lane, as we've been this whole episode, what if TNA had done things differently when they were kind of at their peak, per se, when they had to deal with Spike and such? Ooh. So Riddick, you proposed something, so please feel free to go ahead and tell us.
Take it, Riddick. Take it.
Total non-stop action.
So my question was basically, what if Impact, TNA, whatever they call themselves now, TNA, I'm going with TNA. What if TNA, because that was a show, TNA Impact. What if TNA never brought in Hogan, never brought in Bischoff, never changed the six-sided ring and all that stuff? Where do I think they'd be today? And I personally feel that they would have been a more respectable number 2 than what they are now, because right now the number 2 is AEW, but that's only because AEW is still at the honeymoon phase. And not saying, not taking anything away from the company, but it's the truth. It's the honeymoon phase. It's like you pour a bunch of money into a company, you got a couple of ex-WWE guys, and if they, they could put on a good product for at least about a good few months, they're going to immediately shoot up because there are so many people who wants to change and they're tired of WWE. So they'll jump to that eventually. And then it's like, let's see how long this actually lasts, if there's something that's worth it. So, yeah, TNA, man, I just feel like they dropped the ball big time. Like, they wanted so badly to be dubbed. They should have took AJ's approach to it and just tried to be the best they could instead of trying to, like, oh, we're going to dethrone WWE and then bringing in a guy like Hogan. It's like, Hogan is bad juju. Just being honest, man. He's just bad, bad juju. They should have just let that go, and they should have just kept doing what they were doing, because they were getting over on new talent and talent that wasn't appreciated in the WWE.
Exactly. That's exactly what was happening. And then there's like, when Hogan changed the 6-sided ring, it was like, oh, here we go to the 4-sided ring. It was like, here we go. That's it. The company's done. Because now it became about Hogan again. Because now what you did, you just started seeing Hogan come out to the point where I even stopped watching it, because when I saw Hogan, like Ric Flair, like them guys, I'm just like, and Eric Bischoff, like, it's not knocking Eric Bischoff because he did really good, with WWE, but it's just to say, when you bring those guys into this type of establishment where there's a new demographic of wrestling art going on there, it's like they are about to pour their flavor all over this right now, and it's about to just taste real bad, because it's like, yes, they can't. It's not, especially because of the politics that Hulk Hogan always brought to the table. And once Hulk Hogan politics come into play, that's it. It's like, it's either his way or no way. So, with that being said, it was like, it's like it became like a mini WCW. Like, some of the things was just like, oh, here we go. Like, it was like a rewind button, replay button. Like, this is going on again. This is going on again. That's going on again. So once they came in, I kind of stopped watching a little bit. I was like, oh, here we go. You know, because
I stopped watching point blank.
Yeah, I was still watching some of it, but then it became, like I said, it took away from AJ, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, Kazarian, you know, Jay Storm, the Beer Money Express, you know, Jay Lethal. It took a lot from those guys because those were the guys holding that company. I don't care what nobody say. It's just, it sucks because it's always like you got to bring old WWE legends or, you know, old heads for your company to go up, you know, to shoot up. And it's like, damn, that's what it takes. That's what it takes, because then it's like, because like people loved TNA Impact before them guys reached there. It was just, I guess, because, you know, remember, like you said, you have WWE marks, you have, you know, WCW marks, ECW marks, mainly WWE marks. So it's like once the WWE superstar goes into any production, now you're going to take that fan base over there because, oh, we're marked. So now we got to go, you know, we're going to go over there and see what's going on over there because he went over there. Whereas in now, oh, these guys were, you know, it's like these guys were already there before this person showed up. This person didn't, you know, like like an example, Matt Hardy didn't make Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe was already made before Matt Hardy got there. So don't be like, oh, you wouldn't be known because of Matt Hardy. No, like these guys made the company before you got here. You know,
that's basically trying to give AJ's credibility to Kurt Angle because, you know, don't get me wrong, that was one of the most legendary feuds. Like those guys stole the show. They really tore the house down. Those two. AJ, seriously, that was. I really wish that, you know, especially with both of them, well, Kurt Angle no longer, but when he was with WWE again, it would have been nice if they could have had some of those matches over there because those guys, woo. So that's some of AJ's best work, but still AJ had those same type matches with Samoa Joe, with Christopher Daniels, with what's his name, with Jeff Jarrett. You know, AJ Styles still had all those types of matches.
And with the Alpha, with the first Biggie Langston, the one who used to tackle you from the ropes, he'll throw you to the ropes.
What is his name? What was his name?
I forgot what's his name. Alpha. His nickname was like Alpha. I forgot what's his name. But
because his finish was he whip you, hit the other rope, and just tackle the hell out you.
Exactly. So it's like, you know, it's just one of those where like TNA was really its own good establishment. I mean, of course, superstars are going to jump from brand to brand to brand. It happens. It's not normal. You know, it's not unusual. That happens. But it's just that when it becomes now like a WWE 2.2, I mean 2.0, now it looks like, all right, so now it's looking more like a WWE show because that's what happens now. Like when some of these stars go to these other promotions, it doesn't become about the originals no more. It becomes about now the WWE superstar you brought in here. You know, because now WWE 1, you know, is the top brand. So, of course, you know, we're going to say WWE 2.0 because that's the biggest brand right now. Everyone else is, like, trying to follow behind them. So,
yeah, and at least speaking on my behalf, I didn't really watch TNA. I kind of was here and there with it. Honestly, I was just watching, like, for the women that went over there because I missed Victoria when she left. And I had heard about AJ Styles back when, Samoa Joe and such. And, you know, the standout segments, I guess, when there were some back when. But I know Russo was, like, involved for a good while or such. How heavy was, like, the involvement there? Was it, like, anything like the Attitude Era of sorts? Or
he was there. He was there during the early when basically it wasn't even TNA. It was NWA. So technically it was
yes and no. He was there for that, but he was there part of the TNA thing too, the TNA period, because that's what caused their break with the contract with Spike, because Spike hated Russo. Russo's the New Yorker that people don't like. Let's just be honest. That's them. Real loud mouth. Real loud mouth. Think he knows it all. Diminishes bro. Diminishes shit. Talk shit about wrestling when it's like, dude, this is this is what you do though, but not even in a productive way. It's like, hey, you know, we got to change some things. You can't, like, I'm the same way. Anyway, sorry. But so Russo was there with that. And you can tell the thing with TNA, which really made it, you knew somebody that didn't know what they were doing, is they focused on names. And you could tell that they let these guys do whatever the hell they wanted to do.
NW all over again.
Yeah, it was no like the storylines that I'm like, this is the most cheesiest bullshit I've seen. And you got Vince Russo, and you can hear Vince Russo because if you watch any interview and hear him describe shit, you're like, yeah, this guy, your name written all over it, thinking it's like the hottest shit. Like, yeah, bro, I'm telling you, just do this, and it's gonna get over, man. I'm telling you, guys. I'm telling you, it's like shut the fuck up. But that's pretty much what you can see because I forgot what year it was, but yeah, that's pretty much what it was. So Russo was there for a good minute, and just he was there in secret.
But did it reflect a lot in like the storylines, like you said, or was it as bad as like tacky as it was back when the Attitude Era, or no? Or did it calm down a bit?
It was a bit of both. It was pretty bad. Like it was an Attitude Era. Like I'm trying to remember what was the storyline?
Well, at the time when I was watching it, like to cut in, is like the time when I was watching is like one thing I didn't really like TNA for at the time, and I'm gonna be honest, was their storylines. Like the storylines really kind of didn't draw me in too much. So whenever they did talk on the microphone, or they did like Samoa Joe did his thing. AJ Styles, he was kind of shaky, but he still did his thing. So you had a few guys who did their thing, who can speak on the mic, but long drawn out segments, like production values.
It was laughable.
It was like you can laugh at it. But at least when it came to in-ring promos amongst each other, it was pretty good because it was like you could tell it was like, all right, I'm gonna get basically at the next pay-per-view is on. But when it came to like backstage, when it came to segments and like how WWE production, it dragged and I didn't like it too much. I used to be like, oh boy, can we just get to can we get to the matches already?
And I'm trying to think. I don't know if Russo had his hand on this. One of the dumbest ones that I remember, it was so fucking stupid, was when Hogan was basically like a business cheerleader, like, hey brother, you lost a step, brother. You're not as strong as you used to be, brother. You're not the guy who people were afraid of, brother. I'm gonna give you my WWE Hall of Fame ring, brother, because this is TNA, but I'm gonna give you my WWE Hall of Fame, brother, to push you to the next level, brother. And I was like, what the fuck is this? What sense does this make? Like you're in another company, glorifying another company, which I can understand if it was, I don't know, what's one of the territories that was like the top 10? None of them, because WWE bought them all. But let's say if WWE didn't, and it was like, hey, this is your father wrestled for NWA, best example. If that would have made sense if it was the NWA Hall of Fame, like, hey brother, I'm going to give my NWA Hall of Fame ring, brother. There's something that your dad wrestled on promotion, whatever, all the legends. Then it's like, okay, makes sense. We're talking about WWE, the place that's on the Monday Night Raw right now. That company that you're trying to beat, company, we're wrestling for. You guys are fucking idiots.
Yeah, that smells like Russo written all over it too. Which again, never a fan of his. I still don't like him now. I'll be honest. I'll speak on my behalf. Oversells himself too much, and
he swears he's hot shit.
And I've always been more a fan of Cornette, just because I love when he just speaks.
That's my guy.
He knows his shit. He knows his history better than anybody ever will. And overall, I know you'll appreciate this both. Kayfabe is essential and number one. Keeping everything alive in that realm is important. And he never wanted to lose that aspect. So I loved when they showed the Dark Side of the Ring, and is basically just Cornette versus Russo. I love they did that because Cornette got everything off that he had to without really thinking. Russo was just, bro, at the time I hated JBL. I wanted to show he's a pussy, whatever. It's like, come on.
I was just watching that episode yesterday.
Good episode, by the way.
Yeah, I was just watching that exact episode when you said that. I'm like, I was watching that, and that's why same thing. Like it goes back to me saying where Russo, you're trying to downplay wrestling, like it's just wrestling. But I'm like, yo, but like we all said, you have to take this thing serious because of what it represents and what it is and what we do. I mean, you see in that same episode, they said, man, that's a quadriplegic off of an everyday power bomb that was done, but but something went south. So it's like, you have to take it that serious. You got to do that stuff. You have to. And it's like I said, Cornette, seriously, if I could pick his brain, I know you got to have tough skin because that guy will tell you like it is. But that is one person.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, to come in, because when I was watching The Montreal screw job, yo, he was ripping into Russo. He's like, first of all, Russo, he wasn't even, he was like, he didn't even say anything. Russo didn't even know what was going on. So for him to say that this is what happened, he is fucking lying. Like, he was pissed. He was like, yo, and when it comes to Russo, you could tell he just, like, his back.
He doesn't like him. Yeah.
He doesn't. He hates him. He hates him. It's like, yo, this man he just full of shit.
Yeah, pretty much. He oversells himself. He really oversells himself. The only thing Russo did that everyone was like, okay, you get some points with everybody unanimously, is he had an interview with China one of her last days on Earth. Like, China, this is your platform. Tell your story. And that is one thing I will give him the utmost respect for, because no one did that. Nobody. Everyone gave him that. It gave her that time to like kind of like dig information out, but it's really more so like for a soapbox, and so on and so forth. He was like, yo, what happened? Talk to the fans and tell them what happened. That is the one thing I'm like, Russo, you did something good.
For once.
Yeah, for once.
Yeah. That didn't involve him getting behind one of these and like putting a whole show together on his own.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out though. That's a good little tidbit. I'll have to check that out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, going back to that. So basically, we're recapping that Russo was, as he's been notorious for, the, I guess, fact that it killed everything and it's dead in its tracks and unnecessary, if anything.
He definitely, like, it's unfair, as much as we hate this prick, to put it all on him, because there's a lot, because Dixie Carter didn't know what the hell she was doing either.
That too.
And TNA just, it's like they didn't have their shit in one sock. Like, they literally were ran. I mean, they were basically an indie company. They were an indie company with just a lot more money. Hearing all this stuff, I'm like, Jesus, you guys sound like every other indie company. You just have a lot more money and TV deals.
No, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, that's what it was. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all right, and do you think? I remember seeing the 6-sided ring, of course, and it looked cool. It's like unique to the company and the brand and such. You really think it really made a difference without it being there no more, or was it for the sake of just standing out?
No, definitely. Because it was like because it was, that's what made them unique. They were the only company, and only the broadcast company, that's the best way to put it, because who knows what others, but anyways, the broadcast company televised that had a different ring than the companies that was going on prior at that time, basically in America, most likely.
And also too, sorry.
Yeah, so it was like it was more than just, it's there. The guys knew how to perform in it. They knew how to work, they knew how to work the crowd, they knew where. So that's what made them stand out. So that was another reason why all the fans took it to heart when Hulk Hogan changed the ring back to a 4-sided ring, because it was like,
because it's already Hogan. He has this stigma that people hate him. I'm sorry, people hate Hogan, because it's like no one's ever gonna take anything away from what you did for professional wrestling. We will always give you that. There's you and Vince McMahon. It took the both of you guys to do it, but we all know it's like, you cannot get over yourself. Yeah. You cannot. Like, it's one of those things like that's what everyone's problem is with him. Like, and so for something like that, he's that guy who's like, oh, I hate that. Why would you have that? And even AJ, like, if you guys get a chance, check out Surprise. I was surprised as shit to see it. That's why I was like, I guess TNA needed money. WWE did basically a TNA thing on their roundtable. It's Joe, AJ, I think Angle, and they said it. They basically said, and AJ did Austin's podcast. That's what it was. That's when I heard it. And AJ was like, he said it, the boys in the back were pissed. It was like, this was us. Like, I remember, because it's the same shit that went through my head. Scrolling down TV, like, okay. Oh, TNA wrestling. Oh shit, they got a 6-sided ring. Never saw that before. So that immediately drew you in. You didn't need to see the talent. You didn't need to see anything. The ring did it for you. The ring was the talent. It was like, oh, this is different.
Yeah.
Like, it's that's the first thing that's going to draw you in. Like, oh, this is different. I got to watch this. So when he did that, it was like, okay, you just put a bullet in this company's head.
Yeah. Even though it was funny, originally, like, maybe because it came with the name change, But when TNA first started, they were TNA, NWA TNA. That was technically their name. So then they originally had a 4-sided ring. They did. They originally had a 4-sided ring.
They weren't their own company. They basically were like, so think of it like record labels. So you got to look at it like if you had, let's say you had a record label, but you were a sub label of like Rock Nation. That's pretty much all it was. That's why NWA TNA is titled NWT, and that's why they had the 10 pounds of gold as their world title. They were able to have their X Division title, but it was NWA TNA X Division title. And I think the rest of the titles were still, that was it. But that's what they were heavyweight. So then when Jeff Jarrett finally was like, okay, put all this shit in one shot and bought out of that, and basically was like, all right, this is total nonstop action. This is my promotion now. Then boom, there goes the Dynamite.
And then then comes the six. Then comes the 6-sided ring.
Yes. I think the 6-sided ring was around when it was NWA though. Think about it, because even when Christian was there, I think Christian was their last NWA TNA champion, and then that's when they finally became their own. But when Christian was there, they still were
NWA TNA.
Yeah, and they had the 6-sided ring.
Yeah, I know. Like that's what I said. By like into 2003, mid 2004, that's when the 6-sided ring made its appearance. That's when That's when he's like, oh, okay. So, but yeah, TNA. That's what it. It's like everything everything that made TNA was changed when Hogan made his appearance.
When he came around, those parts just brothered it up, I guess.
Yeah, basically.
And brought his people in. And is that when they started doing like Main Event Mafia?
Yeah, Main Event Mafia. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Main Event Mafia. Like, because it was
Aces and
Sting.
Eights, I think too. Or
Aces and Eight. Sting. It was Sting, of course. Kevin Nash, Booker T. So Main Event Mafia, Aces and Eights. So I never watched the Aces and Eights segment, but I heard it was pretty. Take it how you want to.
The name alone doesn't sound like.
Yeah, it was like not too many people was crazy about it. So it was one of those like it was really like this. It was like take it how you want it. But the Main Event Mafia was pretty good though. It was good because
that was good.
Go ahead.
And then sorry. Go ahead, Riddick. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I like Main Event Mafia because they were different. It was kind of like they kept this small 5 guys, Sting, Angle. Who else was it?
Kevin Nash,
Booker T.
And Scott Hall. It was Scott Hall. I mean, not Scott Hall. I'm sorry, Scott Steiner.
Yeah. So it wasn't bad because at the end of the day, those guys still got to work and they could do that. The only thing that kind of like what I don't remember, so I'm speaking out of turn. I don't really remember. I would tell them, like, you got your W's, in your AWs and even your talent is going to be there. People they already have they're bringing the athletes in the seats. Their job is to bring up the new talent. So only new talent that I think that they kept building up still would be like AJ and maybe Samoa Joe. So I'm like, okay, so as long as they were doing that, then that's fine. So I don't know if they actually were able to do that. That's the only thing that's kind of confusing that I have to think about. And it's so far removed because everyone's retired that we mentioned besides Steiner.
Yeah. Well, actually, Steiner, I think he signed up with NWA now. I don't know how active he is, but he did sign with them. And he did a match or two, I think. But actually, touching on Scott Steiner, the big bad booty daddy, one of my favorite characters just because he was so messy and so problematic. I will thank TNA for giving us two of them? 2 of the most epic Steiner promos to ever exist. I mean, he was going insane, cursing up a storm, like at the end of WCW's run. But at least the ones I hope you know I'm referring to are Steiner's math promo and then the fat asses promo when he was cutting on the Dudley Boys too before a tag match.
Oh, no, I didn't see that one.
I got to see that one.
Those are absolute classic promos. It's hilarious. Steiner Mathematics, I think, on YouTube. It's just him cutting ass on Samoa Joe. He's a fat ass. Like, he's only 33 1/3% of the man that he is. He can't stand a chance with him in the ring, whatever. And then the other one, calling the Dudleys just fat asses. He'll be picking splinters out of them once he put them through enough tables and all that stuff. It's vintage Steiner.
Yeah,
It's
Vin about
classic
to say
material.
Vintage Steiner.
Yo! Yo!
Get your stupid ass down. Get your ass down. Get your ass down. Get down, nigga. Get your ass down. Get your dumb ass down. Mind the business. Get your dumb ass down.
To close out, though, there was a story that came out this week about a kid basically, you know how kids wish for things. I'm sure your children do as well regularly for stuff you can't quite give them yet. This is a case of one of them where a kid in Utah asked his mom after seeing a Lamborghini, hey, can I have one of those too, a Lamborghini? Obviously says no, Billy or whatever his name is. He's 5, so he took it upon himself to save up like $5,000-$6,000 singles, thinking that's enough to buy a Lamborghini. But he took it to extra step, of course, in Utah, of all places, and took the family minivan and drove for about 10, 20 miles on the highway before he got stopped by police and detained. And then they saw, oh my God, it's a fucking 5-year-old doing this shit. Where's your mom and all that? Taking care of the other 6 kids they got in Utah, because, it's like 7 or minimum over them. I'm thinking we're all raised in New York. You guys in Brooklyn, I'm in Queens. We're all raised by ethnic mothers who knew better than to give us whatever we wanted without getting a couple of these and get some sense knocked into us.
Mm-hmm.
If it was permitted, because they don't do it nowadays. Everybody's a hipster. Everybody's a cuck. No one wants to touch their children. No one even wants to say nothing bad to their children no more. If you could put your kid in one wrestling hold, submission, grapple, whatever, what would you use to discipline this kid for doing, of all things, taking the minivan, driving along the road at 5 years old, and making national news at that level for something so stupid and greedy?
Answer wisely, Nitro. But I have my submission hold.
Set a submission hold?
Submission, a finisher, signature, whatever you want to use. I got mine if it makes it easier. I'll go first.
I go second because I have mine already.
I think I will. Yeah, go ahead. Obviously, I got third. Go ahead.
I mean, in my case, thank God it's a boy. I won't affect or stunt their growth with doing so, I hope. So I like to set them up, stand them up straight, make sure to stay nice and tall, give them a nice knife edge chop, set it up, clutch their chest, push them down gently, of course, just like that, and then get them in a good old Boston crab, but actually sit on their lower back and make them think about what they did.
Disclaimer, because we have a lot of sensitive people nowadays. We are not promoting violence.
No.
Amongst our kids, we're not promoting violence. This is just
we're fantasy booking against our children.
Fantasy booking against our kids. So for
pretty
those
much, yeah, we're using a wrestling hold as a discipline because we all know, some of y'all need it or still need, or some of y'all kids needed to get their asses beat with a damn belt.
Yeah.
And so anyway.
We're not condoning abuse or violence for those sensitive ones out there. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. At the end of the day,
everyone
who in our age demographic who grew up with parents of discipline know. So don't act funny, disclaimer. Anyways,
even though y'all are a freaking abomination of set of parents because we got our asses beat, and those be the first one how dare you put your child? Are you serious? That's why your child is anyway, I'm sorry. So I answered the question. Me, no. I will do a figure 4.
Okay.
Figure 4 leg lock. That
old fashioned. Yeah.
Yep.
The camel clutch.
The camel clutch would be the good one. Yeah.
Camel clutch. Camel clutch. I'm how dare you? Camel clutch. Camel clutch.
But which camel clutch though? You doing the Iron Sheik just straight sitting on the back, or you doing the Rusev with the stomp?
Yeah, I'm doing the Scott Steiner. Yes, just sitting on the back and just Scott Steiner. Oh man.
Nah, man.
He took the car all the way. He took a joyride.
he took it like at least 10 miles or so on the highway of all things.
But
And,
how tall is this little boy?
How tall is
that's
this
what I was
kid,
thinking
though?
too. He's
like,
5.
Yeah, I'm looking at my daughter. My daughter's 6, and she ain't reaching. She can't see over no car. And then
how
I'm
did
like,
he do that?
Yeah, I don't know, because I'm like, that's impressive because he didn't get it to crash immediately.
No, he was driving slow enough and actually slowing good enough where the police stopped him because he was driving kind of funny and slow.
But wait, 10 miles. This little boy was able to reach 10 miles with wow.
It seems like, but he was on the highway. That's where he stopped.
That's what I'm saying. He was on a highway where the traffic is just like, you know, you either keep moving or you're gonna get mown through.
But yeah, again, thank God you made that clear. We're not condoning any of that. But if we was able to legally, like if the court of law said, hey, the kid did this, instead of sending him to juvie, you know, we'll give you 5 minutes, dark corner, you know, light it up as much as you want, but you know, you get to do what you got to do so they know not to do that again.
It is. I'm sorry to say that, you know, again, disclaimer, everyone, we're just having fun. Not abusive. We're not condoning violence.
If we take it to back when we were getting disciplined in our age range, we definitely fantasy booked against our parents at some point.
Of course. Of course. Our family would be getting it. Our family like, hey, you know, that's it.
I'm gonna catch mom outside the shower when she's not looking, just like push it, you know, towards the tub.
Do the Shane McMahon, hit the ropes and then hit the chair.
Yeah, right. Like everybody in the world, like, okay, honestly, out of like 10 people, 10 adults right now, 7 of them want to fight their parents. 7. 7. So it's like, I'm not saying like, you know, it's just, come on, it's just one of those, be realistic, guys.
Hey,
like it's not.
At the end of the day, you cannot reason with stupid. So that's just my opinion. I don't care how insensitive anyway it may sound, because at the end of the day, there's still gonna be some dumbass. Because have you seen Twitter? There's gonna be some dumbass that's gonna still take this like, oh, but they can still say, so fuck them. You already know what we put out. I'm sorry. That's why I'm not a public figure, because we already put it out. You know exactly what the hell we mean, and kiss my ass. So
yeah, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. And we're talking. We're like you said. We're having the discussion of wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Wrestling, fantasy wrestling. Like we have common sense. You know, we're not. You know, it's not like we're having a general conversation of other things, and then we're speaking on, oh, this is what I would do to my child. Like, we're all speaking wrestling. We're all speaking. You know, me. You know, myself, JT Riddick, myself, the brothers. We're trained. We're professionals. Like, we know what to do. We know what not to do. So we're aware of. Even you yourself, you're aware. You know. Yeah. So it's just all in fun. It's not like, hey, you know, we would really do this. No, we're fathers. We know the rights. We know what to do. We know what not to do. So,
and if you really look at it as a functioning adult, as we all are, hopefully, you know, some of us are, you know, whatever up here, brain dead, I guess, but we've all fantasy booked at least one time per day against somebody, be it a stranger, family, whoever. Especially now we're stuck at home with people we might not like that much. Of course, we're booking all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
We're booking ladder matches. We're booking, you know, over the top rope or over the terrace, the patio matches, whatever, all that. Come on.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But
guys.
But that's a good. Yes.
Oh no, go ahead, Rick. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, just giving us too much energy, because it's so frustrating. But go ahead, I'm sorry. You take Mr. Ludis, take the reins.
but I will say, I hope we all agree to close that point out. We can agree with the little thing in the back behind me right here. As far as a message, we get political, if you can see that. If you can't.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Make sure you punch your local Nazi. That's a given.
Yep. Definitely.
That's not my background, but that's the virtual background the Zoom
does.
No, I know. But that was somewhere along Queens Boulevard randomly. So, you know, new condo building, of course, they got tagged up. So thank God for that. At least a political message. Yeah.
Recording. Playing hoop.
Yeah, you play 2K?
A little bit here and there. You got PlayStation or Xbox?
PlayStation.
I got PlayStation too. I'm going to get your gamer tag after this. I'll DM you.
Ooh, for sure. You play Call of Duty?
I do, yeah.
And this has been another installment of My Friend the Wrestler. Of course, not me, not the main focus, but as a fan and as a friend of the props and the salutes go to always Super Nitro. one half, the essential half of this program. Without him, it doesn't happen. And now officially part of the operation itself. We're going to expand. We're going to roam the territories, take over. We might be able to get Jim Cornette to book us, if anything, if he doesn't use like old racist bad jokes. Like, you know, and we're going to get fired in the first place. But shout out to him, not to Russo. But then if Russo hits us up for a job, do we hire?
I mean, if I don't know, if you want to succeed, I don't know. Like,
I don't think so.
Now, if you want to make if you want to make a bad movie, then maybe.
Yeah.
Then maybe, yes. You know.
Yeah, something movie-esque for JT to hate on as far as wrestling goes. Which you're right about. But at least they pull it off kind of with the Boneyard match. You know, we'll give them that. And now we got to wait for Money in the Bank to see what that looks like, because that's going to be shot in advance too. So.
I wonder if Spielberg is directing that one.
Our only hope.
He's gonna have ET right across like this. Oh man.
But yeah, again, that has been another installment of My Friend the Wrestler, of course, starring Super Nitro, co-starring myself, Who This, JT Riddick, of course, joining along, tagging in for the whole thing to make it happen. Boys, please go ahead and promote yourselves on IG wherever they need to, just so they know how to reach you if need be.
The Real _Super Nitro on Instagram and Gersh Ortiz on Facebook.
JT Riddick on Facebook, first name JT, last name Riddick. And my Instagram is the only JT Riddick. And that's the same for my Twitter, the only JT Riddick. No underscores, any of that stuff.
Don't need any of that. But, of course, I'm Who This. You can catch me on IG, newly revised at whothis.is, because people get confused too much, but I don't blame them. That's my fault. Someone took Who This from me on IG. I did get Who This on Twitter. I was lucky in that sense. Otherwise, catch the program every episode, every installment of My Friend the Wrestler. Again, starring Super Nitro, JT Riddick, and myself on YouTube on my channel. Who This Is 1, WHODISSIS, number 1 at the end on YouTube. We'll sort out as far as where the audio goes. I'm still working on that realm because it's all messed up and, you know, this connects to that, whatever. So it's all tripped up right now, but it'll get figured out. More importantly, thank you guys as always. We'll be back with more. Next episode will be Super Nitro's genius invention of the IG Live fantasy booking. This guy versus that guy, that gal versus that gal. And also, briefly, if you can, before we go away, you wanted to actually give something away to your fantasy bookings on IG, Nitro, I believe, right? As far as the end prize?
Yes. Like right now, I'm doing a local indie wrestling fantasy, fantasy right now, and is actually getting a lot of good views, which is very great. You know, want the world to know that there's other talent besides WWE talent. You know, you have your local talent, and it's up to you whether to choose whether you like them or not. So basically an online general manager mode.
Nice.
And at the end, of course, at the end of it, there's I'm trying to want to get a prize to the singles competitor and then the tag team. Myself, Brooklyn Dynasty, we're participating, we're winning so far.
Front runners, of course.
Of course, amongst others. So we're trying to see if we're gonna win the main one, but that's okay. We got like 2-3 more matches to go, but hey, it's cool. But the singles is going very well. We up to as we're recording now, we're up to round 3. And at the end, I just want to give away a nice belt. Why not? Nice belt to the independent and to the tag team. So I'm nice, especially the fans taking the time out to literally to vote. Sit down and vote. They didn't have to. They could have just ignored, but is really getting a lot of positive feedback. And you yourself, Who This, don't forget to vote.
No, I'm in there. I'm definitely voting with who I know and who I don't know, but still just be active, proactive.
Yes.
And you will have a lot of explaining to do if by any chance you guys do win the tag one, but then thank God for data tracking and trafficking, because you can always show proof, hey, they actually voted for us. We didn't vote for ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. So
exactly.
It's one thing. That's one thing great, because it's like, especially with this, of course, hey, the truth is the truth. Fans like who they like, and majority of fans like the popular guys on the top. So of course, so to see that we're receiving double-digit votes, it's very, very, very much appreciative, because it's not like a typical, it's not like your basic 5 or 6, 7, 10. It's like it's on the 20 mark, 20 to 30. People are voting. Okay. So
Nice.
That's
Okay.
good. That's good. People taking their time. Okay.
Yeah, people taking their time. So again, thank you to the fans. Thank you to you. You know, thank you to everyone who's participating.
Definitely. And make sure again to check him out, as he mentioned on his IG for that. It's at @thereal_Super Nitro. Super, not ER at the end. Of course, make sure that's corrected.
My MO, I'm steady fighting failure. Remember where I was at when Tower 7 fell? I don't think that was a danger to mankind, and now they face a hell in a cell. Going to see the Undertaker if it's a chance that he tell.